Hey everybody, today I'm going to tell you what it was like with TMAU in the workplace. Now 38 years I never had any problems and nobody ever told me what the problem was. So exactly when things started, I don't know, but I can tell you exactly when things changed. I worked for the software company for 6.5 years. A new management came in, new HR. They're going to clean the place up. Yay! No. I'm working with my coworker one afternoon, and when he walks away, my new team lead comes over and asks me. She goes, "Tell me, he should have known the answer." I'm like, well, yeah, he did. He was on the right track, and all I got was that face, and that was it. At the time, I was helping train new employees. I was taking escalations. I was helping people, new people with cases. Took it all away. She didn't want me talking to anybody. Well, it's not like there's a title, and you're certainly not paying me for it. You're just making my life easier, right? I don't get it. Then she moves me over into a corner and doesn't want anybody talking to me for any reason. So all I'm doing is sitting there staring into a corner, right? Taking calls. That's fine. And that didn't upset me. She'd come over and she'd be like, "I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you look. You don't look the right way." "What don't you like, Carrie? I mean, I'm staring into a corner. What don't you like?" And she'd just laugh and run into the back. And she'd come out, wiping away big crocodile tears, and management would stand there and glare across the department, threatening to fire everybody. When that wasn't getting her anywhere, she moved me over across next to her. I'd get on a customer's network, and she'd start spamming me with emails, and then run in the back crying that I wasn't responding fast enough. So I get on this quote-unquote difficult customers network, and I'm working with this guy, and she starts spamming me with emails. So I start responding, and she goes running in the back crying. It's the same game. I look, she's got 3 different email threads going on the same closed case, trying to get something to complain about. Yeah, it was like that, nonstop. And she started messing with other good coworkers, people who'd been there longer than me and trained me. And I'm like, "Why is she messing with you?" What do I get? Carrie starts, "She wants him. She wants him." 38 years, I'd never seen anything like this. One of her girls, Caroline, I mean, we could have a normal conversation outside the work. I'm like, "Caroline, why do you go out of your way to pad the numbers? And why are you playing these games?" And she's like, "Oh, Laura, I'll pad the numbers, I'll transfer calls, I lie about you, I say everything Carrie tells me to say about you. I'll just do anything for a job." I'm like, "How do you sleep at night?" Right? Sure enough, my last day there, Caroline stands up and says across the department, "Laura, you always scared me. I was always afraid to come to you. You just scare me." And Carrie's just sitting there laughing, going, was like that. I mean, it got to the point where I just quit responding. I just sat back and watched the Jerry Springer show. I mean, I went to manager. He'd just look at me like I was retarded. I'd go to HR, and all I would get is that bug-eyed face. It was just a game. It was just a game. With the "I don't like the way you look," I had another coworker come over and tell me, "Well, you need to dress nicer." Oh, no. For years, the boys club was telling me I was overdressed, that I was overdone. I got 6 pair of Levi's, more than a dozen company-sponsored shirts and t-shirts. And, I usually wear tank tops and long-sleeve shirts because the temperature goes from 65 to 79. I'm not going out and buying a new wardrobe in order to be, to come in here and be threatened with my job every day. So, long story short, I ended up leaving. And I started this new job, and Dave is training me. Now, I don't even need to go into Dave. Wasn't allowed to touch the software, wasn't allowed to touch the manual, wasn't allowed to ask a question. All I did was sit there and stare at the back of his head. All he did was argue with the woman in the group. He hated everybody, he hated everything. All he did was sit there and cuss everything. I just thought he was a womanator. He obviously had some problems. There was nothing I could say or do that would appease this guy. Nothing. Then one day this woman comes over, and she leans in and hanging on him. And they're whispering and chatting, and she gets up to leave, and he goes, "Thanks, Michaela." And she turns and looks at me and goes, "I still go to church in the old neighborhood." My second grade street corner bully. Imagine moving to a new city, a big city, and taking 2 public buses across town to go to school, and having this group of older girls come charging at you as you're standing on the street corner waiting for a bus, threatening to kick your ass and making all kinds of nasty comments. Yep, that was Michaela, picking up right where she left off 30 years earlier. And the same games. I went into a training class, some guy walks in and makes a joke, everybody laughs. And they turn and look at me and they go, "She wants them, she wants them." They had a company lunch and I had people from other departments coming up and going, "How's the new job?" Yeah, it was like that. So needless to say, I didn't learn anything with Dave. And my manager told me, well, you could see, if I didn't keep him here, he'd never keep a job. So yeah, off down the road I went. So I got a shipping job. Temporary shipping job, and I could be happy doing shipping and receiving. All I'm looking for is a good working environment, really. You know, all I want to do is keep a roof over my head, do a good job. No. So I'm training at the main office with this woman, and a few days in, she just goes cold. I mean, conversation stops, it's the look, it's just cold. Okay. So I get over into the warehouse, and I'm introduced to the team, and it's the same thing. There's 2 women up front who just keep their heads down. They don't say nothing. They don't make any noise. They just run in and run out like little mice. And there's the 3 in the back. It's just a constant cat fight. I wasn't allowed to have any office supplies. I wasn't allowed to set up my accounts the way I was trained. They're back there bragging about how they play Bible study with Kim so they don't have to take her whoopings. That's where I got that saying from. So, yeah, I'm not getting a real warm and fuzzy here. But then it starts. The perfume from one direction. Poof, 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 all day long. My throat's burning, my eyes are dry, I can barely read the monitor, my head's all stuffed up. So I went to Kim. And I said, "Listen, Kim, I don't have any problem with, anybody's fragrance, but can you please ask people not to spray it in the office?" "Well, who is it? Well, who is it?" I said, "I don't know. It's the 3 in the back, I guess. The 3 in the back, and I don't need you nobody needs to get yelled at. All I just, can you just not spray it in the office? Ask them to spray it in the bathroom." 2 days later, I come in, and she's in the office with a big old bottle of perfume, spraying our office down. Yeah, it's like that. And the 3 in the back are like, "She don't like my flavor. She don't like my flavor." Well, I don't have any problem with your flavor. I just don't need it sprayed in my face all day. I just want to be able to do my job. That's been an ongoing game, too. So down the road, I go to the clinic. Resetting passwords, working in a call center, got no problem. Every time I look up, the team lead is just giving me this look across the room. I mean, I smiled at her, I try to talk to her, and all I get is... And sure enough, the perfume starts. Poof, 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 from every direction all day long. Again, I try to talk to him. I talked to the department manager. I said, "Listen, I don't have a problem with anyone's fragrance, but I don't understand. Why? Can you just please ask him not to spray it in the office all day?" He moves me to another office, and sure enough, all afternoon, from both directions, tee-hee-hee-hee, poof, tee-hee-hee-hee, poof, from both sides of the cube. Yeah, it's like that. So I get a job in another software company, and I'm working in a department with 5 guys, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe the cat fights are going to stop, right? Maybe I'll find a decent working environment here. No. The harassment starts immediately. The she wants them, the she wants them, the smelly comments. The one guy's got on his whiteboard in his cube, smelly cat, it's not your fault. I go into a server room to do some work, and I come out, step out, and come back in, and it reeks of fart. And the entire customer service department is just rolling. I leave my cube and come back, it's the same thing. It started with that grit there, too. I leave my cube and come back, and my cube would be just covered in this white grit. I get in the car and turn on the blower, and poof, my entire car was filled with this grit. I don't know how many times I hosed out the front hood. It was in the employee manual. Obviously somebody had worked there who had an odor problem, because there was something in the employee manual. And I went to HR. And I said, listen, I don't know what's going on here. I shower, I bathe. I've been to how many doctors, because I don't understand this. And they tell me there's nothing wrong with me. What's going on? What do I get? That face. My manager, he just gets angry. I mean, I can't even talk to him no more. He's just angry. Yeah. 7 months of that. I even saw an endocrinologist during that time, a metabolism specialist, Madhoon. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with you. I don't know how many tests. There's nothing wrong with you. You work with 5 guys. They just don't want to work with a woman. They just wanted their buddy to get the job. Just put your headphones on, do your job. There's nothing wrong with you. 7 months later, I move on down the road. Don't worry, I'm getting close to the end here. So I get into software answers. The first week I'm there, I meet the guy I'm replacing, and, the whole group's standing there, and my manager introduced me, and somebody asks him something, and he starts to respond, and they just angrily cut him off in mid-sentence. Just run him over. And he's just standing there smiling, and I'm thinking, oh shit, here we go again. I'm training with Heather the first week before she goes back to the other department, and no problems. And the very first Monday morning, the very day she's gone, it starts with the fake coughs and that look and the smelly comments. What's going on? Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. And they just drop their head and put him down behind the computer. I'm supposed to go to Ann for help. Anytime I go to Ann, all she would do is make this fake cough the whole time. What's wrong, Ann? Are you sick? Wouldn't answer a question, wouldn't give any assistance. That was it. Right? The fart spray. I'd get up and leave my cube. I'd come back. Oh, tee-hee-hee, they're laughing. The white grit. They moved me from one side. They sat me over next to Tony, Joya's favorite. Tony was Joya's favorite. Tony would do anything Joya asked him to. Tony wanted to get married. So he deserved to make more money than me. I mean, yeah. Tony. He sat there and trolled his ex-girlfriend for months. He trolled the guy that I replaced. 4 or 5 months later, he finds this little 2 or 3 minute video. The guy had run for mayor of a small town, and every day for the next 4 or 5 months, that video was up on his computer, and he'd be trashing on his hair, and trashing on his face, and trashing on his clothes, and trashing on his speech. Tee-hee-hee-hee, the whole department, right? He'd talk about how he'd kill this guy's wife and family, and how they deserved to die, and how he'd mutilate their body. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. It was like that. And this department hated that department, and these women hated those women, and Anna'd get up and leave the department, and they'd trash on her. And of course, Joya was always free reign. Nobody liked Joya, but guess what? They were a good Christian company. My manager's always like, we're a Christian company. We have an Asian and a black and a Jew. We're a Christian company. I asked her about the November schedule. We don't have holidays. We have a Jewish person working here. Well, does that mean there's no November schedule? What does that mean? She'd come out in the morning, she'd come out of her office, and she'd take a breath, and she'd just be like, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian. I learned real early on not to try to have a conversation with her. You just smile. Just learn from the department. You just smile and watch. always a competition. She'd had a disc fusion. I said, oh yeah, I had one too. For days she walked around with her head glued to her shoulder. I got it worse, I got it worse, I got it worse. She was always ragging on me because I didn't want the corner office. Because I didn't want to be a manager. Well, I don't want to be a manager. I never did. I want to do my job. But it was always some kind of put down. It was always some kind of competition. It was always some kind of cheap-ass competition. And, I mean, these people just ate it up. I told you in another video about the temperature going back and forth, and she comes out of the office screaming, she's a sweater, she's a sweater. It was just non-stop. I went to HR. HR told me I was hallucinating. Oh, they're just difficult to work with. There's nothing going on there. My cube would be covered in grit. I had management and HR come out. They're like, oh, that's just dust. I'm like, there's 3 cubes around me with no dust on them. I clean every morning. I come in and clean clothes, and I'm covered in this white grit every day. Totally blew me off. And yes, they started job hunting right away, and no, I couldn't get a call back from anybody for anything at this point. It was the same grit in my car. It started getting screws in my tires. I'd pull into work, and when I'd leave, I'd get halfway home and have a flat tire, the same kind of screws, 5 times. Started parking in front of HR's window. No difference. Oh, good grief. With the grit. When I had them out to my cube, you know what Joya told me? She stops me and says, you just need to have a doctor look at that rash on your ass. I mean, I couldn't make this shit up if I tried, right? I'm wearing black dress pants, and they are just coated in this stuff within an hour of walking in the door. And I just don't even know where to go with this. Well, at this time, my primary starts pushing me into therapy because neither HR, not Joya, not any manager, not any coworker, my friends have disappeared, people have walked out of my life. It's just chaos, right? So I go to this therapist, and all I get from this woman is this face. So I move on down the road. I'm in a new church, and I meet this woman, Heather, and she's like, I tell her basically what I'm going through, and no, I'm not going to a singles group. And she's like, oh, you need to come in and see me. I can help you. So I go to this Christian therapist. And after the first visit, she's got the blower going the whole time, and she's spraying perfume the whole time. And I'm like, Heather, why won't you just call my doctor? If you won't tell me, tell her. She can't help me if somebody won't tell her what it is. You know what she said? I shouldn't have to do my job. I don't want to do this job. God made me do this job, and I shouldn't have to, so I'm not going to. All I want to do is pray for you. All I want to do is be on stage on Sunday morning, and I just want my husband to be deacon in the church. I'm like, dude, you've charged me almost $1,500 to sit here and pray for me a husband and tell me you're not going to do your job with all these diplomas or certificates on the wall? Oh my gosh, this woman had me in tears. So I go home and calm down. A few days later, I call the office, and all I get is, tee-hee-hee, oh, we'll pray for you. Tee-hee-hee, oh, we'll pray for you. Yeah, like that. Gets better. And I go into church Sunday morning, and I'm sitting up in the atrium. There's like 200 people down below, right? And there's Heather up on stage getting her groove on. As soon as the pastor comes out and starts speaking, the entire lower area starts in these big fakey coughs. I mean, they're rocking in their seats, right? This pastor, he had to have stopped 4 or 5 times. He couldn't get a couple words out of his mouth, and he's just looking around like, oh, I see you, Heather. Thank you. Thank you for showing me what you're really all about. Okay? Now, I'd have a copy of that. They used to post their sermons on the internet on Sunday morning. For some reason, that video never made it. So, I go on down the road to Mimi. Mimi. Oh, it gets better. So I go into Mimi, and I go in the first time, and I tell her what's going on. And I go in the second time, and it's 95 degrees out. She's got all the windows wide open and the blower going the whole time. And she's telling me, You're just too sensitive. You just need to put up walls and block all that negative energy. There's nothing wrong with you. Here, let me heal you. I'm going to heal you with my hands. Ooh, don't you feel better? No, you're lying to me. And from the front desk, all I got was that face. From the first time I walked in the door, all I got was that face. So I went back a couple times, and I'm like, please. Again, here's Dr. Troy's name and number. Just call her. There's nothing wrong with you. Now what happened? I wrote her name wrong. She didn't go by Mimi. Everything in her office said Mimi, but she went by Gail. And I wrote the wrong version of Gail. And she starts hyperventilating. Bug-eyed hyperventilating. Do I have to write it out for you? Yeah, maybe you should get a coffee mug. Better yet, the second time I went in to see her, I went into work the next day at Software Answers, and they're all repeating what I'd said in the office. I shower twice a day. I use deodorant. Nobody will help me. I've seen so many doctors. Tee-hee-hee-hee. Really? The next week I go in to see Mimi when all this happens, right? I go into work the next day. Now they're saying all kinds of crazy shit I never said, right? I go back to HR, and what do I get from HR? Tells me this cute little story about the boy who would talk too loud in confession. Yeah, it's like that. So now you know where this goes to. You know, I finally found TMAU. I finally got tested. In January 2010, I got my results, took them in, and got fired for it. So, yeah, if you have TMAU, or if you think you do, don't rely on anybody anywhere to ever be honest with you. There may be other doctors who know this condition and can help you now. All I can say is get your ass to a geneticist, lie about smelling of fish, because I never got a fishy comment, but I was just so desperate for help. I wrote out everything I'd been through and I added fish, and I got tested and it came back positive. And everything I found I was doing was counterintuitive. It was just the wrong thing to be doing for this condition. It's not bacterial. It's not normal BO. And nobody will treat you with any basic human decency. So get to a geneticist and get tested. So till next time, happy holidays.